Welcome back to Cancer Awareness and the Truth. I'm your host, and we have a lovely guest with us, Monique. And there's a reason you're on this program, because you actually was taking, as I call it, the pill, the cannabis.
Yes.
And you had cancer. When did you realize that you had cancer?
Well, I didn't actually realize it until I went into the doctor for a regular annual exam. I was only 18 when I was first diagnosed. Didn't have any symptoms, and basically my test came back abnormal.
And what test did you have?
It was just a regular pap smear.
A regular pap
Nothing
smear?
special.
Oh, okay. Well, this is
Yeah.
delicate.
So they came back abnormal, and they did all the tests after that. Like they ended up doing the colposcopy, and then they ended up doing a lead to try to get rid of it, and then they did an additional cutting when they had me under after the lead. And you know, I thought
And
I
how
should
did you?
be
I mean,
okay.
you're only 18 years old.
Yeah.
How did you feel? I mean, did you
I was
a little shocked?
shocked. Yeah, I just got married, so I was.
You got married young.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good for you.
And I was just, we were shocked. We didn't expect that, and I've been healthy. I've been an athlete my whole life. I was a gymnast for 10 years, and then a martial artist. I ate good.
So it wasn't that you didn't exercise.
Yeah.
It wasn't that you weren't giving yourself a good life.
Yeah,
And you're only 18.
yeah. It was truly shocking. Didn't expect it.
So how long did that last, and how long before you started getting treatment?
Well, that was early on. So after I went through the surgeries, and
So you had to have surgeries, which you had to have cutting out and all this
yeah.
stuff.
So after that, and they tested me again. I tested negative for cancer. Like they just say it goes into remission.
Yes. So now it's in remission. How are you feeling when they say that? Well, they give you 5 years, I think.
Yeah, and I hadn't yet reached the 5-year point then, so I was a little skeptical because I had struggled so much with the insurance companies. I began to realize kind of how here in the U.S. they really profit off of people being sick, because my insurance company dropped me.
Well, yes, they have a habit of doing that.
Yeah.
I think it's in a lot of countries. They do that. As soon as you get sick, and as soon as you
Yeah.
want, money to pay for the doctor, it's not you want it personally, but to pay for the doctors and everything, all of a sudden, they don't want you as a client. And
Pretty much.
so then you're realizing you're going to get a tremendous amount of bills.
Yeah, and a bit after that, a few years down the line, we'd moved to California, and medical marijuana was an option in California, but I didn't feel a need for it. I'm anti-drug.
Yes.
Always have been. I've volunteered with addicts, recovering, and
Helping them.
I see what drugs
Yeah.
can do.
What they can do. Yeah.
So my ex-husband.
So let me just go back a second. When they said the medical marijuana, you were still skeptical because of the word marijuana?
Yeah, and then the
The
typical
consequences?
images you kind of
Yeah.
see associated
Yeah, you
with
immediately
that.
associate.
Yeah,
we
it's
were talking
usually-
about, Lance, that we
Yeah.
immediately associate with sort of being high all the time. And,
Right,
you know.
and people laying on the couch playing video games. And, I have goals, and
That's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to be a pothead.
Right, I
And
don't.
this is the problem. This is the
Yeah.
whole problem we're having. Okay.
So while we were in California, I had started to get sick again. Before I didn't notice anything, but this time I
Where were
started
you
to
from? Where
notice.
had you moved from?
Virginia.
Virginia. So you were in
Yeah.
Virginia, so you were fine in Virginia. Maybe the air was different, maybe things were different. You moved to California, and then the atmosphere and everything is totally different.
Yeah. So
It kind of brought it back up again.
yeah, I went back in for a regular exam. It came up abnormal. I was so frightened. I didn't
How old
actually
were
get
you now?
treatment right away.
How old were you then?
At that time, I was 24. 34.
34, so you've gone through your 5 years, gone through everything, and
Yeah.
you thought you were cured.
Yeah. So I was
So here we go again.
terrified because I
Got me
actually felt
tears.
sick, and I had a lot of changes going on, so it was terrible timing. Not that there's ever a great time to
There's
get
never a
the
good time.
news.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. But at the same time, this was a shock to you.
Yeah, so I didn't get treatment right away because I was so terrified, but I did then start to look into my options for medical marijuana.
Really?
I did.
What made you do that? Because of being a young age, or being sort of knowing that what you had already gone through with all the operations and everything you've been through didn't work?
Yeah, that was one of them. But by that time, I had also met more people who were in the dispensary business, and they weren't potheads. They were professionals,
Yeah.
and they were really wonderful at what they did, and they cared about people. And, you know, the statistics that they had about how it helped people with different illnesses, everything from fibromyalgia to cancer, PTSD.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, and so I started to do a bit of research on my own, and I said, okay,
Wait a second.
I think I should consider
Maybe
this.
I'll do this.
Yeah, and so eventually I did know I had to go get treatment of some kind. I had to do something.
You had to do something. In the meantime, what's your husband doing all this time?
Well, we had actually started to go through divorce at that time.
Oh, no. And was it because of all this, or?
I think
You're
it was a
not-
combination of things, you know, things just happen. We're great friends now, but, you know, I was so young and he was much older than me, so.
Yeah. So it just didn't work.
Didn't mesh.
Didn't it? That's okay. I just wanted to know if it was to do with being sick all the time and.
I'm
not-
sure some of that
I'm
added
sure some
to
of that.
it,
Yeah, I'm sure some of that did add to it.
Because there were many times when I was just bedridden and couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and that's not what he married.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And you're being honest, because this is what it's all about. This is the awareness of
Yeah.
different things that happen when you get sick and how you can kind of get over it. Okay, continue. So you're now got to get some more treatment.
Yeah, so I go back into the doctors, and this was about a year after I had gotten the abnormal
The
test.
bad news.
So they basically told me I had stage 2, and it was really borderline heading into 3.
It's 3.
And they were very concerned about how to treat me. They actually brought in another oncologist because of other medical reasons. A
Well, also
hysterectomy wasn't
you'd
a
also
good-
had all the operations, and so this should not be
Yeah.
occurring again.
Yeah.
So what they did was didn't cure or do anything.
No,
Actually,
it just basically delayed
it
it.
just
yeah.
delayed it going into 2 and on the border
Yeah.
of 3.
So I had 2 different medical doctors, but I also had consulted a naturopathic doctor who made me aware of things I could change in my diet and things I could do differently.
Did you like that? Did you feel?
It was an adjustment. Everything was a big adjustment.
Well, mentally and physically.
Yeah, it was really scary. At this time, I had also decided to move back to Virginia to be with
Your
near
family.
family, so I could have somebody to take care of me while I was ill. So I maintained, adding the marijuana because that was one thing that the naturopath promoted. And actually, my one oncologist, he said that it was okay. He said he couldn't go on the record, but
it was okay.
He definitely supported my use of it.
Yeah.
So they did more surgery, and they didn't do a full hysterectomy, but they removed a lot of tissue. And I had a very difficult recovery. My body took a very long time and
To heal.
and
And mentally, how were you feeling mentally?
I was so depressed.
Depressed. Yeah.
I
You were
was
too young to have all that.
I was just really unsure what was going to happen, where treatment was going. And so due to how long it was taking me to recover, and the tests were still not coming out the way that they liked. They wanted to do a round of chemo with me, which I regret to this day.
So you did go through the chemo?
I did one round and I never do it again. No.
Okay. It was that bad?
It was horrible.
What
That's when I actually, things were bad, and then
Well,
they
this
went
was
to
worse.
worse.
And they're
that's
supposed to
when
make you better?
Yeah, and that's where I honestly felt like I wanted to die. So
And I heard this story many times when people take the chemo. I don't think we really realize it when we don't have cancer and we don't have these things. We don't really realize what they're going through with the chemo because we're not going through it. And we don't quite understand it, but we do know that you get very down and you lose your hair. And this has always bothered me. Why do they keep giving chemo if you lose your hair and lose parts of that? I don't get that, because if it's strong enough to do that,
yeah.
and then it's supposed to attach itself to wherever the cancer is.
Well, I think a person needs to hear it from a patient and not a doctor, because it's two very different views. It's subjective at a point, because when people hear about the treatment, they're
Yes.
hearing it third party,
Correct.
not from who went through it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When
We
you
third
hear
party.
it, who went through, they're like, well, they survived. No, they existed. That's the difference, is that when you actually hear from a patient who's gone through courses, even one course of treatment, and they tell you what happened, they go, I
And
documented
you
it."
actually went through just one course, and the reason you didn't go through, how many were you supposed to take?
They talked about me doing 4 rounds.
4 rounds. You couldn't hardly get through 1 round.
No, and I would never do it again. It created so many additional complications for me. Before I did the chemo, I was actually able to maintain a part-time job. And once
You took the
that
chemo?
happened, no more.
You couldn't?
I could barely get out of bed. I
And that
was
was
so
just one of
sick.
the things that happened.
Yeah, I got so sick. I was bedridden. I couldn't do anything. I needed help getting to the bathroom. Sometimes I needed help just with hygiene and
Everything, yeah.
everything.
Everything.
It
How
was
about how about maintaining a diet or eating? Were you? It was hard to eat.
It was. I could barely eat, and it was
So
horrible.
do you believe that anybody who takes the chemo goes through what you went through? Because some people probably could take it better than others, but at the same time, it's still bad.
Yeah, I have heard a few people who liked it. They did well with it, and they're grateful. But even to this day, my body has never been the same.
And you would be the one that would know that.
Yeah, and since then too, I had a very close family member pass away from cancer, and I watched what the chemo did,
Yeah.
and I'm against it. I just
Totally against
would never do it.
Again. But apparently, you feel now you're cured.
Yes, my cancer's been in remission. One of the things I did do, though, to this
See,
day,
now we've got a smile on her face. we were just near to tears right now. We're all sitting here
Yes,
crying. But
I maintained the diet pretty well that the naturopath
that's
has recommended.
recommended for you to take
Yeah.
because all our bodies are so different. So we, as you know, we have a different reaction to everything.
But it was the cannabis oil that truly helped me get
Cannabis
through
was the one that you believe.
that. I do,
You believe that.
because it didn't create complications. It helped me come off of all those medicines they had me on. And as those medicines disappeared, I was able to eat again.
How soon were you able to get rid of the medicines that the stream of them, however many they were, probably quite a few,
Yeah.
when you started taking the cannabis? Did you gradually take them off, or how did you do that?
At first I was gradually taking off the medicines.
Like every other day, or being a little
Because
bit
that's what the
cautious?
doctors wanted me to do.
Yeah, so you're being cautious.
Yeah, but eventually I just quit, because I said I can't feel any worse than what I do right now. I just quit. I quit everything against the doctor's advice, and I quit
Now,
everything.
your doctor obviously had no control over what you wanted to do, because none of
Right.
us, nobody has a control of what we personally want to do. And if you personally wanted to get rid of all the medication and take the cannabis, because you'd already got a okay from him to take it
Mhm.
at that time. So you were feeling perfectly fine, and you just said, forget the whole thing?
Yeah, I did.
And you just took the
I
cannabis?
just took the cannabis oil.
Once a day?
Some days it was twice a day, but mostly once a day.
Once a day.
And I would also vaporize it and eat it too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
I had a great friend who was a chef, and he would kindly bake me like cookies and make candies and truffles and things for me.
Really? And he put the oil in it?
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about the oil. We're not talking about the marijuana leaves. We are not talking about that. So I want to make this very clear, because this is where this is where the complication flies in.
Yeah.
Because they usually think, you're going to bake cookies, you're going to do all this and put all the marijuana
Well,
in.
it's coming from the plant.
Yes.
The key thing, the difference being is that when someone's vaping or
Yes.
taking it, through smoke, you're smoking the plant matter, flowers. The oil is simply the plant broken down in its most concentrated form.
Yes.
And with that, it creates different things. You could cook with it. You could take the oil directly, but it's a much more absorbable form. And that is the difference that people don't seem to understand, because they're like, what's the difference if I take it this way?
This is what I want people to understand, and
this
this is
way.
what we're doing, is giving you the awareness of what the oil does.
Yeah.
When it's taken through the pill, I love calling it the pill, cannabis pill, when it's in the oil form, it's getting through, which is a pill. You're not smoking it, you're not doing anything, you're just swallowing it, and that's absorbed through your whole body.
Correct. And in everything, when you're doing anything, it's being absorbed. The difference being is how much you're actually absorbing.
Yes.
And this is the misconception. When something gets into your body quicker, meaning when someone smokes it,
Yes.
it gets in very quick, 5 minutes. The problem is the absorption is maybe 10%. And
Oh.
can you sell it? Because you can see the relief lasts maybe an hour. When you're doing something that's a little more, and it's all fat soluble, the key thing is how much are you actually keeping?
Yes.
So with something like, let's say, oil, when you're taking it internally,
Mm-hmm.
the absorption is getting pushed closer to 80 with a lot less. And so people are saying, well, wait a minute, if I'm absorbing more, I have to use less and it's lasting longer. There you
There
go.
you go. That's-
It's not stating that you can't do this or can't
Can't
do
do that.
Personal preference. My thing is simply what's going to last you the longest.
In your
Require
body.
the least amount of effort on your part.
Yes.
To make it simple.
Which also takes off the stress, and when you take stress and all of the anxiety, then your body heals better anyway and functions better, because when you're stressed and you're uptight, things all lock up
Yeah.
and become weak and sort of, you can't function
Yeah.
properly. So how long did you take it before you started well, how long was it before, when you got rid of all the pills, when you first started the cannabis?
Well, I was still taking it with all the pills, but starting to actually feel it was pretty much right away.
Right away?
Yeah. That's why I kept taking it.
You
'cause
could have woke up and
the
felt, wow, I got a
first
little bit of
time I
strength
tried the
floating
oil.
around, right?
Yeah, the first time I took the oil, I felt a huge difference. It was immediate. It wasn't even like taking some of those drugs that they would have me take, where take a week to feel.
It'll take a week
relief
before
or
they get into your
something.
system,
Yeah.
and you're thinking, well, I've just taken it, why would it take a
Yeah.
week? When food goes into your
Right.
system and it does what it does, so it's
Yeah.
quite weird when you think about it.
Absolutely.
So then how long was it when you just said, no more pills, just the cannabis?
Oh, I guess it was about, so I'd had the surgery, so I'd say it was 3 months after the surgery.
That's all?
Yeah, because I was feeling truly bad, and I just, I was so sick.
So you felt that, what difference does it make anymore? Get rid of all the pills and just take what made you stay on the cannabis then? Because that
Well-
was the only one that made you feel good.
Yeah, it was the only one that made me feel good, and the other pills that they were giving me, all the medicines, it didn't help. It made me
Nothing
feel like
helped.
I was dying. It did not.
You probably
make me
felt
feel
like you
good.
wanted to die too.
Oh
It was
yeah, I did.
Take this away from me.
I can remember just laying there and thinking, somebody in their 20s, they should be out having a good time, enjoying life, and
Absolutely.
here I am,
Yeah.
I'm stuck in this prison. It
Yeah.
felt like being
Your
stuck
prison,
in prison.
it's like prison in your body.
Yeah.
Totally stuck in your body.
And
So how long was it when you started taking the cannabis just by itself, and then you started to feel better and go out and feel like back to a normal person?
well, it took a while to really get back to normal, but I was able to go out.
The memory was coming back? the mind,
Yeah.
being able to function again.
I would say within a month after getting rid of the pills and just being on the cannabis oil.
How does that make you feel, Lance?
The amazing thing is that when people
I
are
love
told
this.
that stuff is impossible and the
I
body
know
can't
that.
regenerate,
Yeah, and why aren't we out to save people's lives and we're not? We're making everybody sicker.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an article here. I don't know. There's a woman here, 68 years old. She's calling herself Betty Richards, but that's not her name. And she goes through. She started taking marijuana, and then she started taking the pill. It says the government doesn't want any of us to be healthy. They want a nation of sick people because sickness is money. Now I'm quoting this. This is not from my brain, though I've got a very good one. But it is a quote from this woman, and she's just saying it how it is. And do you believe that's how it is?
I do. I definitely do.
You're the one that's been through it. You and I haven't been through the cancer, though. We're sort of bringing the awareness around. You're researching it. You're bringing it out there. I'm bringing it out there through television, through the media, and I will not stop until I really get it out there. Because when I listen to you, of what you went through, and it was like a last resort, and you thought, well, there's only one thing left.
Yeah.
Is that what you thought?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I knew it couldn't get worse, and there was only
And only you knew that, because you're the only
Yeah.
one that was sick with it. You're the only one that can actually say, yes, this is how I felt, this is what it is. So how are you feeling now today?
I feel good. I feel really good today. I feel lucky.
You feel
I
lucky
honestly wasn't sure if I would be here today, so I'm grateful.
Really? So you're very grateful as to what you've been through. And how would you feel, how do you think you can help other people? By this program we can help, because I've got the example sitting right here. This is not a made up story. This is not a fabrication of anything. And I got my producer laughing there. But how would you try to help other people to take that step? There's a single step and you took it.
I mean, it doesn't get any worse than taking those medicines and how they make you feel. And the cannabis oil, it doesn't make you feel worse. It doesn't even harm your body like the side effects to those medicines do.
Yes.
There's nothing to lose by taking it.
There's nothing to lose by taking it, but you can answer this, Lance, is we are actually on the cancer side of what we're trying to do. Because this is just 1 in 2 are getting cancer, or somebody, or anyway, it's really bad out there. So how can we get people to understand her situation? She's just one person that's gone through this, and she's living proof.
it's by providing proof to the public of what they've been told for so long is incorrect. It's actually just a blatant lie. It's not even just incorrect, and it's being purposely done. And I think when people start questioning their reality of what they've been told for so long, and hearing real stories, and they have nothing to gain. These people have nothing to gain.
They have nothing to gain.
Benefit is getting information out there, and that's the purpose that we all want, is to get this to the general
Yeah.
public.
Yeah, get this.
And that's the key thing, is making someone informed, because that's when you have power.
Would you
Yes.
like to look into the camera and just, maybe give a little something about not to be afraid of going for it?
You got nothing to lose. Cannabis oil won't harm you, and no matter what you're sick with, it can't be any worse. There's nothing to lose by trying, and it won't make you into a loser, a crazy pothead. You'll still be a functional, productive person.
Yeah, you'll probably be, I was going to say, it doesn't, not only for the cancer, but it cures, when you take this, it cures, it takes everything
It
else.
creates homeostasis in the body, balance.
Yeah.
It creates balance in the body. How about that? Monica, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for amazing story, a true story. And if we can help one other person,
That's worth it.
one person at a time. What do they say? Help one child at a time. So we can help one person, right, Lance?
Make a difference.
Yeah.
Let's make a difference. So we make a difference. Thank you so much, Monica.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be back with